Good afternoon and welcome to Best Bits News with me, Lyndsey Riley.
And me, Sarah Graham.
Coming up, we're going to take a trip down to Belfast and check out the continental market with Miriam Foster, and then we'll find out what's happening with the MP's expenses with Margaret McGoldrick and Teresa. After that, we're going to find out what some of our international friends are up to this Christmas with the Dean Meshe before we head over to Liverpool Football Club with Chris Ferry. But up first with the news headlines.
4-year-old boy John Paul Massey was mauled to death by a dog in his home in Liverpool last night. A soldier from the 1st Battalion Goldstream Guards has been killed in an explosion in southern Afghanistan. This is the 99th soldier to die there this year. It is Mega Tuesday in the world of online shopping, the busiest day of the year for sales on the internet. Retail analyst Robert Clark told Sky News it's certainly going to be the biggest Christmas for online spending this year because every Christmas is the biggest Christmas and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Now, Belfast Continental Market is back and bringing some jolly Christmas atmosphere to the city centre. I'm on its Facebook page now and right away I can see there are plenty of positive reviews. Carol Conn writes, "Love the market, beers, burgers, smell and a lovely Christmas feeling." Liam Hall says, "The season for festive glee is upon us once again. At least for now, when I arrive in city centre for work, the smell of cinnamon and German beers will perk me up." Our reporter Miriam Foster is in Belfast with more of the story.
This is Miriam Foster from the Continental Christmas Market in Belfast. Since the 17th of November until 19th December, the Christmas Continental Market is back on the Belfast City Hall grounds. Once again, traders from all over Europe came to offer all kinds of different food, gifts and decorations. Highlights, for example, the kangaroo burger, strawberry beer or the little pancakes are of course on the market again. But this year traders from the North Pole, the US, Asia and Africa set up their stalls too.
Hello, I'm Pat from the Gingerbread House Confections. We have traditional handmade Christmas cakes, gingerbread houses and chocolate Santas.
And I'm sell waffles, stroop waffles and all different cookies from Holland. So I wish you all a gelukkig kerstfeest and een gelukkig nieuwjaar.
This is my 3rd year working in the Continental Market on the Dutch pancake stall. I'm Irish, but we sell Dutch pancakes and the atmosphere is really good and the pancakes are lovely.
This year on the food and drink list is the bratwurst from Germany and of course the beer, combined with warming glühwein, liquor and coffee. What are you eating there?
Bratwurst.
Do you like it here on the market?
Love it because it's great beers, great food, a little bit of atmosphere as well. Fantastic.
Very good. It gives you the chance to come and experience different cultures more than anything else and taste different foods that you wouldn't be able to taste at any other time of the year.
The market is a place for the whole family. This year, next to the big wheel, is a fabulous new children's carousel.
We're Bernadette and David and the carousel is absolutely brilliant for the kids. All the kids see it first of all whenever they walk into the Continental Market and they're queuing up to get a ride on it.
On the Belfast Council website it is said the number of 750,000 people from last year will be even bigger this year and it will be better than ever.
And now we have more details about the latest child killed by a dog. John Paul Massey was killed at his property in Icegrove, Weavertree, just after midnight last night. His grandmother, Helen Folks, 63, was injured while trying to save the child and has been treated in hospital. The animal, which killed the boy, was shot by armed forces at the front garden of his home. He was described by many as a friendly, cheerful little boy. Over the last 6 months, the public have heard constant reports of the outrageous expense claims of over 650 of our government's MPs. These stretch from claiming for the yearly Christmas cards to the hundreds and thousands of pounds in second homes. Our reporter, Margaret McGoldrick, has the latest.
Here with me now to tell the story from a journalist's point of view is Maggie Swarbrick.
I mean, it's got absolutely everything. I'm sure that the editors at the Daily Telegraph who broke the story originally must have been jumping up and down on their desks, shouting hooray, because, you know, you cannot get a better story than this because it's got everything that you could possibly want as a reader. It's got power, it's got corruption, it's got money, it's got humour, it's got kind of an insight into people's lives and the people who rule over us, who have a say over us. We can see their moats that we're paying to get cleaned out. see their duck houses, we can see their fabulous, sumptuous second homes. It's a great story that just ran and ran and ran, and the public couldn't get enough of it. I think that actually that this story is the very essence of why journalism is important, because had the MPs, had the House of Commons had their way, none of us would be any the wiser, and it was only because journalists that decided that they were going to pursue this story and take an interest and find out what the truth is, that all this came out. So all those people who criticise journalism and think that, you know, that journalists themselves are corrupt need to think very carefully about that, because this is all about journalism being the fourth estate, about being the people who keep an eye on those who rule us. And I think that it's absolutely the right thing to do to expose this kind of wrongdoing.
Thanks for that, Margaret. Now, when it comes to the expense claims, it's we as the taxpayers who are suffering. Here to get the story of what you think is Teresa Lagan with the taxpayer's opinion.
You, the taxpayer, have been forking out for our politicians to live a life of luxury. The DUP party being the biggest offender here in Northern Ireland, with over £14,000 to pay back. However, in England the scale of the problem is much worse. Now, with Christmas just around the corner and less money than ever in our taxpayers' pocket, we hear it's possible that MPs will get a pay rise. I'm joined with Millen Rowntree, lecturer at the University of Ulster, who's going to help shed some light on the matter. Millen, why exactly have our MPs been allowed to get away with this for so long?
Well, I think it's probably a case that the MPs have been setting their own salary. They've been working out how much they should gain in expenses for expenses they feel they've incurred. And because of that, because there's no real sort of political or any other sort of mechanism for checking on that, the MPs have quite happily gone along, claimed what they believed they were entitled to, and so the system has perpetuated itself.
Do you think they should have to pay the money back?
Well, that's a very good question. There are certainly some cases where people would appear to have perhaps defrauded some money from the system. You look at some of the cases of people having second and third homes and claiming mortgages for them. People like that definitely should be argued that they could have to pay their money back. A lot of people have made legitimate claims for legitimate expenses, and those, of course, wouldn't be subject to that sort of thing.
Now we hear it's possible that our MPs are going to get a pay rise. How do you think this will affect the taxpayer and their views of our MPs?
Well, it'll affect the taxpayer because we pay them in the first place. We vote them in. They're in Parliament. I don't know how the taxpayer and the voters will react. It's coming up to an election in May next year, and I think at that stage the voters are going to be letting the politicians know exactly what to think of them.
That was Millen Rowntree's views on the MP's expenses scandal. I'm Teresa Lagan at the University of Ulster.
Thanks for that, Teresa. Now, on a lighter note, we want to know who you think will top the charts and take Christmas #1 spot. Please text your ideas into 0790 2018 202. That's 0790 2018 202. And who said we're in a credit crunch? Despite the credit crunch, millions of people around the world would take to their computers to start buying gifts for Christmas. Sky News claims that 69% of consumers say they've already begun Christmas shopping online. That's over half the population. Stores say they've seen a huge spike in sales due to the virtual stampede of online shopping, and it's only the start of December. And for those of you who take the more traditional approach by shopping on foot, I would advise you to stay clear of the high street around the 23rd of December.
Next up, Northern Ireland is rapidly becoming a more multicultural place. We've been chatting to some of our international friends and finding out what they'll be getting up to over the Christmas. Here to cover the story is Idil.
Hello, Lyndsey. I ask what is Christmas to the Protestant and Catholic chaplains of University of Ulster. Here's Philip Campbell with me. What does Christmas mean, Philip?
It's true that some people appear to have forgotten what Christmas is all about and what its origin is. From a Christian point of view and from a biblical point of view, we know that Christmas is the time when we celebrate the birth of Christ. It's not that we believe that Jesus was born on the 25th of December, not AD, but that's the day. The 25th of December is the day when we celebrate his birthday.
Hello, Father Raymond. Tell us about the history.
It used to be a pagan festival when people who weren't Christian worshipped the sun god. The winter time, the winter solstice was the time when the light, broke through the darkness of winter. And given the fact that Jesus said he was the light of the world, Christians thought, isn't this a good time to celebrate the coming of the light of the world? So they actually hijacked the pagan festival and made it into Christmas.
I have a Jewish American student with me. What is Christmas to you, Michelle?
Well, in the States, it's very much a secular holiday in a lot of ways, and I mean, you kind of have to participate in it a little because all the decorations are everywhere, and everybody's, Merry Christmas, so you just kind of get into it, and there's not really anything to do on that day, everything's closed and such, so I'm probably just going to stay home with my family and have a day together and, I don't know, cook dinner, make cookies. We like cookies too.
Can you practice your religion easily here?
No, I mean, it's impossible. Because Judaism is very much a cultural tradition, it's very much about the community, and there just isn't a community here. The closest synagogue is in Belfast, and it's so expensive. Like, I can't go to temple, and it's also, it's an Orthodox temple, and I'm not Orthodox.
Now for sport. Arsene Wenger is not conceding the title just yet. Wenger is retaining belief that his side can still win for their first Premier League title since 2005, despite back-to-back defeats and losing 3-0 at home to Chelsea on Sunday. Having missed out on a place in South Africa next summer following Thierry Henry's infamous handball, the Republic of Ireland has now requested for an extra place in the World Cup. Thankfully, it looks like Tiger Woods will make a full recovery after his car crash on Friday. Liverpool haven't won a match in 9 games. Is it down to the American owners or Rafa Benitez? We sent our reporter Chris Ferry to Liverpool to get the scoop.
Liverpool being such a big team, with already 5 European medals under the belt, there's a lot expected of them, but at the minute their current run is so bad, one of the worst in their history. Fans are backing Benitez, or fans want them out. Fans are backing the American owners, or fans want them out.
Alright mate, as a Liverpool fan, Rafa Benitez should be sacked.
So much bad luck at the minute for the club. Last minute goal at the Cop End against Leon.
And that's going to be 2-1. It's Delgado who's finished it off, and Leon lead here, and this is now catastrophic for Liverpool.
Sunderland beating them at home 1-0 with the help of a beach ball.
It's gone in! It's gone in! It would have gone to Rainer, and it's in the blue and gone in. It's 1-0, and so unlucky Liverpool. Unbelievable.
I tell you,
1-0.
That will have to go to the dubious goals panel, see whether it goes to Bent or Balloon, one of the two.
Benitez was there in 2005 and took the team to the European title.
Deadliest finisher. Misses, and Liverpool have the European glory. They have the European Cup.
3-0 down against AC Milan to win it in penalties. Is this the reason why he's still at the club? If he hadn't won that European title, would he be gone? Let's see what Jerry Beattie, writer for the Liverpool fanzine, has to say about the situation at Liverpool.
I think like a lot of Liverpool fans expected this year that we were going to make the step forward, but I think those of us who kind of saw the tail end of last year knew that there were players like Carragher and Gerrard that didn't feel Benitez had done a terribly good job from Christmas onwards last year. And I think it's unfortunate, but we're going to have to drag ourselves out of it. But where that's going to come from, I don't know, because without Gerrard, without Carragher, it's hard to see where the improvement's going to happen. There are players in that team at the moment who are not good enough for our reserve team, let alone for our first team. Benitez out, don't know. We don't have the money to sack him. I think he's done a great job for us. We couldn't afford anyone else, and we're not going to have the resources to give them. I think the man needs to be given the chance to stay there. I'd like to see Hicks and Gillette out the door as quickly as possible, but in this climate, it's hard to see that happening.
Okay, thanks for all your texts. We've been checking them out, and it seems that most of you think that Lady Gaga's Bad Romance will make it to Christmas #1 this year. Thanks for listening to us here at Best Bits News, and tune in at the same time tomorrow.
What it do? It's the boy T Christmas. And what I'm about to give you right here is a burn exclusive, baby. Let's run that.